I was bullied in high school. 10 years later, I was their boss. This is the story of how the people who laughed at me ended up working for me. Back in high school, I was the quiet kid, not invisible, just overlooked. I wore glasses too big for my face, carried a beat-up backpack, and preferred spending lunch in the library over sitting at the cool table. But some people didn't just overlook me, they made it their mission to remind me daily that I didn't belong. Mark, Jason, and Tyler, the trio, varsity football stars always holding court in the cafeteria, they called me Geek Squad. They knocked books out of my hands. Jason once dumped my entire tray of lunch onto my lap in front of the whole cafeteria. Everyone laughed. And Emily, the cheerleader I had a crush on, laughed too. That cut deeper than the food stains. I tried to fight back once. Sophomore year, I told Mark to knock it off. He shoved me into a locker so hard my shoulder ached for weeks. The teachers saw and shrugged it off as boys being boys. So I swallowed it. 4 years of humiliation, of graffiti on my locker, of fake notes slipped into my bag just to get me to show up somewhere and be laughed at. The only safe place was the computer lab. Mr. Daniels, the IT teacher, let me stay after class, experiment with coding, build little games. That lab was where I dreamed bigger. I told myself one day these people will need me, they won't laugh then. After graduation, everyone scattered. Mark got a football scholarship but blew out his knee freshman year and dropped out. Jason bounced between construction jobs. Tyler started college but never finished. Emily went to nursing school, and me? I worked 2 part-time jobs, one at an electronics store, one delivering pizzas, while teaching myself every bit of code I could absorb. Python, Java, SQL, nights blurred into mornings. I ate ramen at my desk, my only company the whir of my old desktop fan. I bombed interviews at first. Nobody wanted the kid with no experience. I got rejection emails so often I started saving them in a folder called Fuel. But I didn't quit. Eventually, a small startup took a chance on me, entry-level developer barely above minimum wage, but it was my foot in the door. From there I climbed. I stayed late, fixed bugs nobody else could, volunteered for projects that scared me. I broke things, learned, fixed them again. I started leading small teams, then whole projects. By 27, I was managing developers twice my age. At 29, a recruiter reached out with an offer, a new branch opening in my hometown. They wanted me to run it. Me, the same kid who ate lunch in the library alone. I moved back, new suit, new office, new title, operations manager. My job was to hire and lead a team. I scanned resumes, interviewed candidates, and one day there it was. Jason. I almost laughed. His resume was thin, warehouse jobs, some basic computer skills, but he was applying to my branch. I scheduled the interview. When he walked in, he didn't recognize me at first. I was dressed sharp, glasses swapped for contacts, confident. I shook his hand, introduced myself, and watched his eyes widen when I said my name. He stumbled through the interview. He needed the job. He said he had a kid. I hired him, not out of pity but because I wanted him to see me every day in the seat of power he once mocked. Weeks later, it happened again. Mark, his knee injury left him out of options. He applied for a desk job in logistics. When he walked into my office and realized who was sitting behind the desk, his jaw actually dropped. Tyler followed a month later, same story. One by one, my high school bullies ended up working under me. At first, they tried to act like nothing happened. Jason called me boss in a forced, joking tone. Mark avoided eye contact. Tyler sent awkward "great to see you again" emails. But I remembered every tray of food, every shove, every insult. One day, Jason screwed up an order badly, cost us thousands. I called him into my office. He sat there sweating. "You're not gonna fire me, right?" And I remembered that day in the cafeteria when he dumped food on me and laughed while I burned with shame. I leaned forward and said, "Jason, I don't fire people for one mistake, I give them chances, because I know what it's like not to be given any." He nodded, ashamed, and left without a word. Backhand index pointing right. If you're still watching, don't forget to subscribe and follow for more full stories. No parts, no clickbait. You can find me on TikTok at the Full Reddit, Instagram at the Full Reddit, X at the Full Reddit, and YouTube at the Full Reddit. Months went by. Slowly the dynamic shifted. They couldn't joke about me anymore. I was the one signing checks, approving promotions, giving second chances, and I was fair. I didn't bully them back, I didn't need to, my success was revenge enough. But fate wasn't done. One afternoon, Emily walked in. She was dropping off medical supplies for a partnership program. She froze when she saw me. "You work here?" she asked. "No," I said, "I run this place." She laughed nervously, asked if I ever thought about the old days. I said, "Every day, that's why I worked so hard to leave them behind." She left without another word. Years later, at our 10-year reunion, people whispered about me, about the quiet kid who came back as the boss. Mark and Jason shook my hand like they had never shoved me. Tyler tried to joke about the old days and I just smiled and said, "I don't live in the old days anymore." Because real revenge isn't making them suffer. It's making yourself into someone they can never ignore again. So tell me, if you were in my shoes, would you have hired them or turned them away? Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe and follow me on all socials for more full stories. No parts, no clickbait.